Hello my fellow fasting foodie friend, it's Jackie, and today I'm really excited to talk to you about a brand new fasting resource that if you're wondering if you should order Fast Like a Girl from Dr. Mindy, stay tuned because I'm going to give you my honest opinion as an intermittent faster of the past 2.5 years that really is pretty open with my eating window. I'm going to share with you what I thought of the book, what I think is worth reading, and overall, should you buy it or not. I received this book before the release date and I've read it. It doesn't come out until December 27th of 2022, and I got it simply by asking Dr. Mindy's team. I emailed them, I said, I'm a fellow YouTuber, I've been watching your shorts, I see you have a new book, and I love to read fasting books. Would you be interested in sending it to me? And I can share it with my audience if I like it. There was zero strings attached, no commitment. They didn't say, please say this, don't say this. They simply sent it to me, and they sent an amazing gift package. Thank you, Dr. Mindy and your team. They sent me this book, they sent me this adorable mug, and on the back, I love, it says, you are powerful beyond your wildest imagination. Like, how empowering. Not only did they send me these, they sent me chocolates, Element, and essential oils. It was really a very thoughtful package, and I didn't know Dr. Mindy much, but after reading the book, it really doesn't surprise me that the package is that thoughtful because I find her to be extremely encouraging and empowering. So I have read the entire book and I'm going to share with you some of my favorite parts. I thought it would be appropriate to start with something from chapter 10, which is hacks that make fasting effortless. She gives kind of 3 guides, and I think the 3 guides are very all-encompassing of the book and kind of her attitude with fasting. And I think it's really great to share. So I'm paraphrasing here, but it is directly from her book. Meaning I'm just reading the parts that I highlighted. There's a lot more in chapter 10, but she says, the first thing is healing takes time. Although fasting will yield results quickly, if you have a chronic condition, it'll take time to heal. Be patient. The second principle is practice. Be curious about fasting. Give yourself grace if you have days that are less than perfect. The last healing principle is to keep depending on your knowledge of how your body works. This book is here for you to reference if you hit an obstacle at any point in your journey. So again, I took 2 pages worth of stuff and I put highlights together to make that, but I think it's a really, really good overall picture of what this book shares. She gives you a lot of information that can help your fasting journey. She gives you a lot of knowledge. She's also extremely encouraging, and she really encourages you as the individual, this is how I felt, to take what she's sharing with you, your own personal life, and build a plan that's going to work for you. And I feel like that's part of reading so many books. So her protocol is different than what I learned in Jen Stevens' books. It's different than what I've read in Dr. Michael Mosley or Dr. Bert Herring. I like to read overall a lot of information. Not every single thing is going to feel so applicable to me, Jackie, here in Michigan at 35 years old, mom of 5. Wait, I have 3 kids. Mom of 3, family of 5. Like, I'm an individual and my life is a little different than your life is different than another person's life. And when you read a lot of information, you can take the parts that seem to fit or to really resonate with you and build a fasting plan that maybe it's not perfect and maybe I could improve upon it, but having the knowledge is really going to help you. And I feel so encouraged reading her book that she gives a lot of good information and that she really gives you permission to adopt it in the way that feels best for you. I'm going to share with you just all the chapter titles. I think that gives you a good idea of the flow and the information contained in here. Chapter 1, It's Not Your Fault. Chapter 2, The Healing Power of Fasting. Chapter 3, Metabolic Switching, the Missing Key to Weight Loss. Chapter 4, The Women's Way. That's all in part 1 and the Science of Fasting. Part 2 is The Art of Fasting Like a Girl. Definitely more female heavy in this part. Chapter 5 is Building a Fasting Lifestyle Unique to You. Chapter 6, Foods that Support Your Hormones. Chapter 7, The Fasting Cycle. Finally, part 3 is the 30-day fasting reset. This is where she gives you a plan to take all the information you learn in parts 1 and 2 and make an actionable plan out of it. I really like the way she laid out everything. So chapter 8 is the 30-day fasting reset. Chapter 9 is how to break a fast. Chapter 10 are hacks that make fasting easier. And finally, chapter 11 is recipes. Even though it's one chapter on recipes, she does break it out on ones that are good for a fast, ones that are good for different parts of your menstrual cycle. She really does a good job of making a clear picture of how to implement the information she shares. So a lot of the information on fasting I have probably heard or read in different ways before. However, the very new part to me is the way you can sync fasting with your menstrual cycle. So I have really never looked into that much. She talks a lot about females' hormones, how they change within your cycle, and how your fasting needs are different at different points in your cycle. And this is something I've really never considered, and I think it was pretty eye-opening. One area in particular is she talks about from ovulation to when you start your next cycle. I think it's about a 10-day period. She really suggests that you cut back or you don't fast at all, and she gives a scientific reason for that. Now, I don't know if I'll implement that exactly like that because it's not what I've been doing for the past 2.5 years, but it gave me a lot to think about, and it really put a why behind I'm always hungrier right before my period. Even though I've been fasting 2.5 years, I have these days where I feel extremely hungry, and she gives a lot of science behind it. So it helps me to understand why, and it has gotten me to think maybe I need to change my protocols. So I don't know what actions I'm going to take from this, but I definitely feel interested in learning and implementing and experimenting with my own personal fasting protocol. I am a menstruating woman. I have different needs, and I'm learning about them from this book. Now, I read it once. It doesn't make me an expert. I am certainly going to dive more into it and read it again. And as she said, when you have books like this in your library, they're there for your referencing over and over again. I think it's a great resource for all women, whether you're new to fasting or you're 2.5 years in your journey like I am. I am very grateful to have it as a fasting resource and part of my fasting library. And further, I think I definitely have a more simple approach to fasting because once I get to my eating window, I'm not super restrictive, and I don't feel like it's gonna overhaul my protocol. I do think it's gonna give me food for thought. And as I'm getting further into my journey, I do feel more and more compelled to learn more, and it's not because I feel like I have to, it's more of an interest, and I feel like, okay, I'm really good at this fasting, what's next? I'm kind of ready for a what's the next step, and the more I can learn and improve my health, the more I can help to keep diseases away, maintain a healthy weight, and continue this awesome feeling I have with fasting. Dr. Mindy says knowledge is fuel in the book. She says it in her videos, and I definitely feel like she filled my tank. I have much more fuel up here in my noggin, and I think it is a great resource for anyone that's looking for something new to read. I really would recommend it, and if you want to order it, you can pre-order, or if you're watching this on or after December 27th, you can order it. There is an affiliate link linked below. Again, this was sent to me for free just because I asked Dr. Mindy for it, but she doesn't know me. We have no promises of me saying anything. I just overall really liked it, and it has been a very enjoyable read this past week. You can see, I don't know if you can see, I took my pink highlighter to it. So thank you, Dr. Mindy, for sending me this book. I really was encouraged. I look forward to taking the information that you have shared with me and applying it in parts to my fasting protocol. As I mentioned, I'm 2.5 years into this journey, and if you're interested in seeing the very beginning of my journey, I'm gonna link one of my early videos right here. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, donna, ciao.